Hello, I'm Azai. Welcome back to UuultraC. I I've been awake for quite a while now. Usually, if you guys watch my other playthroughs, I go to the gym before I do these recording sessions. But today is a non-gym day. I've actually been trying to make up for lost time since I got sick at the first week of New Year's. So I had to make up for about 5 weeks for not going throughout that week when I was sick. But yeah, I ate some food and I was pretty much just lounging around. And here I am, just recording some more UuultraC. Before I start the episode, I always do this. I do a last episode recap. Which basically is just me recapping what happened in the last episode. Usually not really all that accurately because sometimes I don't remember about the episode after I haven't been recording for quite a while. But this one should be pretty easy to recap. So we're called Shotaro Kagome. We're in this world where kaijus are pretty much typical. They probably kill people. I don't know. So far I don't think we have actually seen a kaiju kill people. But they're destroyed by this thing called the Icarus, superhero, which is also a running superhero series from what we've known. And there's this white one which is really unknown for, to the public that we keep seeing. And we have a boyfriend, I think the name is Kozuka. He kidnapped a kid because he thought that this was his reincarnation of his sister. But, he was bullshitting. The reason why he said that was because his sister died when he was probably smaller. And yeah, during that time when we were at the police station, we found a kaiju. The kaiju got destroyed, but we got splattered by its blood. So there's also this guy called Chotsugai. He was there in the police station. He told our workplace about how we got hit by the kaiju blood, and that's how we got fired because people are really discriminative about kaiju in this world. I mean, I think it makes sense to me because the kaiju can probably kill people really easily, but so far we haven't actually seen the kaiju kill people. We've seen the kaiju try to kill people, but the Icarus superhero always kills them before anything bad happens so far. So yeah. So we also met up with this guy called Kobayashi. He got a new job from Chotsugai. And he's supposedly this guy who he lied to back when we were children. Because wanted to impress him. Turns out he had a good sense of justice and he kind of shunned us. And ever since then we haven't really been good guys or good friends. And yeah, we ended up knowing about the fact that Chotsugai was the one that tattletale the fact that we got hit by kaiju blood, and we ended up with Kozuka having sex with us. Yep, that's literally all that happened in the last episode. So pretty weird recap, but I'm enjoying the story so far. I'm enjoying the world more than the story, I guess. So let's continue what happened, shall we? Morning. Alright, I'm supposed to actually, give me a sec. I need to charge my mouse. Here we go. The sky was blue outside the window. I searched the futon with my eyes still half closed, but he wasn't there anymore. It didn't look like he had eaten yet. He had eaten either. Alright, the fridge was empty. I picked out a can of mackerel while I reread the letter from the other day. He hosts the studios. Shotaro Kagome. I guess there was no mistake then. The host studios was on the other side of Soshigaya Station. I'm gonna be recording 2 episodes today, by the way. I usually record these YouTube recommended playthroughs 3 times a week, but because early this week, it was also Chinese New Year. I was pretty busy, so I wasn't able to record anything the past 3 days. Or not the past 3 days, the the first 3 days of the week. I showed my pass at the counter and joined the crowd. I didn't recognize anyone. I had gotten a good look at the other candidates at the audition, but I didn't see any of them here. What was Chotsugai doing here? My brows instantly furrowed as I approached them.
また僕のことを吹聴するつもりですか。
自意識過剰は大概にしたまえ。僕は雇われてきているんだ。
He pointed to his camera. The release of the shutter hit me like a splash of water.
メイキング撮影ってやつだ。今日はよろしく、カゴメくん。
If you wanted us to be friends, this wasn't the way to do it. My confusion turned to anger. He smiled triumphantly when I turned away. What was his problem?
カゴメ翔太郎様ですか。
I still had a lot of questions, but I turned to the voice that had called my name.
はじめまして。AD のひばりのです。カゴメです。楽屋に案内しますね。
Me? Dressing room? Totsugai had left at some point. There were a few large four-sided buildings nearby. He led me down a wide outdoor corridor. Everyone was in such a hurry. Whoa, what the? I really hate that when that happens. You know? Like, they just, like, instantly do that without doing any input for me, or, you know, me giving any input. Everyone was in such a hurry, it felt like filming would start any second. Ibarino about every person that passed by us. I followed his example and did the same.
ひばりのさん、どこかでお会いしませんでしたか。いいえ。
I must have been mistaken. Kinda seems like the Hibari chick we saw, the one who took Sakura to the welfare area, or welfare orbit, or she's from the welfare services. The silhouette of someone against the sunset flashed behind my eyes. Here we are, he said, as he led me into a small room with a tatami floor. There was a script with a yellow cover on top of the table. I was slowly walking up to it when someone called out to Hibarino and he left. I was alone with the script. Oh my god, wasn't this an Ikara's script? It was a script for the next batch of episodes after episode 40. Icarus, Juro Sayashi. Heroine, Kyoko Wakabayashi. What am I doing here?
カゴメさん、衣装合わせに行きましょう。でも台本がまだ。読まなくても結構ですよ。
By the time I poked my head out from the dressing room, Hibarino was already way ahead of me. I chased after him at a slight jog. Everything was happening so fast. This was See, that's what I hate about this game. Fuck this game, bro, sometimes. Hibarino was already ahead of me. I chased after him at a slight jog. And I consider myself someone who speaks pretty fast. When you're reading without speaking it aloud like me, I guess it's fine, but when you're doing a playthrough like me when I read it out loud, it is mildly annoying. It was hectic, but the brightness of it all was exciting. We passed the art staff with their stained clothes that smelled of ink and paint. I was proud to be a part of this world, and it set my heart soaring. We turned down a corner into the costume department where the clothes were kept. Hibarino pushed me from behind as I nervously went through the door.
これは。
Why is it mosaic censored at the top? Is it supposed to look like a dick?
ゴドランの衣装です。
I don't think that's supposed to be censored because when I saw the 8 scene, you know, the yaoi scene on the previous episode, the dicks were not censored at all. This is weird. A kaiju appeared in every episode of Icarus. I remembered them all, but I'd never seen such an obscene kaiju like this one before. As a man, I couldn't help but blush. Talking about. You're a girl, then yeah, you're blushing. As a man, you don't care about this. You have one. Icarus was a kid's show. Wouldn't this be way too shocking for them?
コドランは弱ると顔がしなだれる海面体の怪獣だ。
Corpus cavernosum? I know that's a scientific name. It's what's the word? What language is it? Whatever you use for scientific names, but I don't know what that means. A somewhat elderly man who appeared to be an actor came in behind us. Aladdin, right? Yeah, Aladdin. I was shocked enough when I saw it, but a penis-themed monster was definitely not for kids.
カゴメくん、よろしく頼むよ。
よろしくお願い。
Right as I tried to return his greeting, he slapped me on the rear.
逸材だ。
The fuck? Is everyone in this game gay?
理想の体だ。薄っぺらいのに体幹がしっかりしている。
今日の撮影はゴドランが敵なんですか？
ああ、イカロスと戦ってもらう。
I got closer to Godland and felt its smooth exterior. I wasn't sure why it brought me to tears, but I froze. It felt as warm as I did.
オーディションでの君の演技は正直 C 級だった。最低の最底辺だ。だがしかし、怪獣としての素質は極上だ。
Yeah, I kinda expected this outcome.
さあ、カゴメくん、わしの暴れ怪獣へ乗り込みたまえ。いけー、カゴメ。
はい。
Why is there an echo? I had to walk down the corridor in the droopy costume. I couldn't see a thing, so I had to waddle close behind Hibarino. I could tell everyone was avoiding me though. I had to keep telling myself I'm not me anymore. I'm Godland.
ひばりのさん、これ本当に大丈夫なんですか？
何がです？
形とかその。
多分大丈夫かと。
Probably. Suddenly, a figure in white passed by me. Huh? What figure in white?
どうしました？
何でもありません。
視界が見づらいでしょうから勃起させましょう。
So stupid.
ぼ
Someone working behind the scenes of a superhero show shouldn't be using words like that. I mean, I don't know about that. Like, I study psychology, guys, and we talk about dicks and vagina a lot. Since it's just a natural discussion topic, right? I don't know, I feel like if you're into biology or anything that's more scientific, you don't really care so much about saying dicks, vagina, etc., etc. It's just part of the course. Part for the course. The world I had imagined was starting to crumble. It made me sad, but there was now air being ventilated into the costume to lift the head. This was so humiliating. I couldn't believe he was doing this in the middle of the corridor.
鞘師さん入ります。挨拶しましょうか。
いえ、
Juro Sayashi was covered in a red suit. The chiseled shapes on the tight suit weren't painted on, but were from his own training. He had mentioned that once in a magazine. He was quickly making his way toward us. Not that good. Doesn't look that good. I mean, he's lean, but he's not really all that muscular. His eyes were dull black. As soon as he got close, I fell to my side. What? What just happened? The ventilator broke, making me slowly deflate.
重郎、彼は新人怪獣アクターのカゴメさんです。カゴメさん、立てますか？
大丈夫です。
Did I fall down there? The one who offered me a hand was Juro Sayashi himself.
すまない。あまりにも成功ゆえ、驚いた拍子に蹴ってしまった。
I see. I was surprised too. When he lifted me back on my feet.
メイキング。
Jutsugai, knowing him, he caught the moment I was kicked too. Juro Sayashi's hand was hard and cold like a rock. He barely got a hold of me and could pull me back up in no time.
僕は鞘師十郎。急な依頼と聞いている。よろしく頼む。
よろしくお願いします。
He probably doesn't even remember a Shokin here. I immediately bowed. When I lifted my head, I saw him bowing at me lower and longer than I had. How could someone known as the national treasure of the silver screen be so humble? I supposed to click something here, Chotsugai? Nope. The set was a flooded town. I guess Chotsugai doesn't like Juro there.
怪獣は有機物からの発生が主でしたが、今回は人から怪獣となったという設定です。
Organic matter, so it doesn't have to be, you know?
悲劇、船から落ちたマグロ漁師。救う神は仏ではなく魔王サタンであった。怪獣ゴドランとして蘇った男は息子を探して港へ襲来する。
というようなナレーションが入ります。かごめさんは暴れ回ってください。かごめさん、
悲しい設定ですね。
その思いの丈、ぶつけちゃってください。
Ibarino gave me an unenthusiastic fist pump. Apparently, he and I felt differently about Godlin. What a sad story. It doesn't even seem that sad. What the hell? You don't know true sadness if you think this is sad. What the hell?
ゴドランのアクターの方はどうして辞めてしまったんですか？
やりたくないからだそうです。卑猥な被り物じゃご子息が泣いてしまうからと。
そうだったんですね。
かごめさんも嫌ですか？
でもゴドランにとってはゴドラン自身がヒーローなんですよね。
はい。
Probably.
ヒーローとして演じます。
Not really a hero, but more like, the main character. You really think what he's doing is heroic? No, it's not. He's clearly gonna kill people to search for his son. Ibarino hit the zipper inside the costume, then went down to the side of the stage. I said something pretty embarrassing back there. After that, though, I had to give it my all. The director clacked the clapperboard. I'd convey Godlin's emotion as if I were searching for my son. I'd tear the city to the ground. Sparks flew in time with my steps. I swung my head around as if to say, he's not here, there, or anywhere. When I turned around, Icarus was standing there. Through a special ray of light, Icarus had grown as large as myself. Yeah, this is definitely supposed to be Ultraman, I feel. He struck without a word. It was a barrage of physical attacks. This pro wrestling style of fighting was what children all over the world love most about Icarus. I can't deny that. Back when I was still younger, maybe about 7, 8, or 9, probably around that time, I was into WWE too. Even I wanted Icarus to win, but I couldn't give up.
君を倒してゴドランを息子に会わせてあげるんだ。
You're Godland. What are you talking about?
無駄口しないでね。
I could no longer hear his voice. As soon as I swung my head around, explosions went off at my feet. Icarus looked shocked by my unexpected intensity. I would have been shocked too if I were an onlooker, but I was pierced by agile kicks. Then I was sent flying. Buildings fell as I was chased to the end of the set. Someone yelled, "Cut!" It was over. I could rest for now. Now that the fight scene was over, my part was probably done. Passionate voice full of rage called out. The owner of the voice was standing right in the middle of the stage. He was approaching me with even more hostility than Icarus had.
なっとらん、なんだそのざまは。暴れるシーンはこれで終わりかなとかなんとか思っとるんだろう。
Well, yeah.
イカロスがかっこよければそれでいいんだよ。
若造が何も分かっとらん。炎は渦があってこそ、水は波紋があってこそ。
What is he talking about? So what do you want from me, director?
落ち着いてください。
Okay, he's not director, whatever he is.
燃え上がれカゴメくん。これが本物の怪獣だ。
He wants me to be angrier? Everything in front of me was washed out in orange once again. I tried to stand up, but Godland couldn't move without help from the assistant director. There had to be a way out of the suit. It was filling up with kaiju blood. I was swallowing a sea of orange juice. Wait, is the suit actually from a real kaiju? What the fuck? I couldn't breathe. I woke up on top of a tatami floor. Marina was looking down at me worried. Doesn't look worried to me. The hard pillow under my head was actually
すみません。いい高さの枕が見つからなくて。
in his lap.
いえ、こちらこそ。
He had been cooling me down with a fan the whole time. He gave me a bitter smile when I shut back up.
今回はお蔵入りになるそうです。
I guess we were just delusional after we got kicked so many times.
そうですか。
すみません。せっかく重郎から本気のキックを引き出していただいたのに。
いえ、
The hero's siren was still going off. Once it stopped, I'd never see him again.
それと、こちらが日給です。
ありがとうございました。
That's all I did and I got paid? How much did I get paid? What the hell? It just became a punching bag. The siren stopped right as I walked outside. The sun had only moved slightly from its position directly above me, so it didn't look like much time had passed. I could still taste orange juice in my mouth. I drank kaiju blood again. My heart was pounding and my vision was blurring. Wait, are we seriously using the kaiju body from a real kaiju body? The costume? What the fuck were they thinking? Unlike when I arrived, the studio gate was almost completely silent as I left. I saw someone unfamiliar standing by the counter as I went by. I kept running into Chotsuga. He was soaking wet for some reason. His look of confusion instantly changed into a smile as he approached me. Even when I took an obvious step away from him, he took another step toward me.
やあ、カゴメくん。君のおかげでいい絵が撮れた。本気で君を殴るさやし、もっと本気で君を殴るさやし、そして。
メイキングの撮影じゃ。
騙されやすいその性格。なんとかしたらどうだい？
He got the detestable look of a paparazzo. I had let my guard down in front of this truly despicable man.
もったいないです。黙っていればいい役者になれます。
He played the liar.
それは光栄だな。
He was trying to be cool even though he was soaking wet. I dragged my feet all the way home. I'd been bursting with excitement this morning, but now it felt like I was dragging lead behind me as I walked. How would I tell Kosuke? He'd definitely be sad if I told him the truth. Maybe I'd lie to him again and say it went well. No, I couldn't do that. I could barely think or see. Nothing ever went right from me. I didn't want to go home feeling this way, so I decided to kill time at a cafe. I wanted to forget everything that happened while I drank the most bitter coffee imaginable. After my little pit stop, I continued to make my way back home. There was a tall man standing in front of the apartment building. He waved cheerfully when he saw me.
翔ちゃん。
How do you know where my house is? Kobayashi?
どうしてここに？
蝶津貝さんに聞いたんだ。
What the fuck? Why was that guy giving out my personal information?
不都合だったかい？
うん。あれ、何の用？
君に渡したいものがあってきた。
He handed me a tube. I didn't recognize its faded color, but it felt unusually familiar in my hand. He came all the way here, so I invited him into the living room. I emptied the contents of the tube onto the table. A rolled up sheet of paper and a nostalgic smell came out from inside. On one half of the paper was some writing, and a drawing on the other. It was a time capsule from elementary school. I kinda knew for some reason it was gonna be a time capsule. I don't know why. Really weird.
同窓会にも顔を出さないから、俺がずっと預かってたんだ。
The theme was, what do you want to be when you grow up? I'd written, I want to be an actor. Well, when I was a small kid, I didn't really have a personality of myself, so I was only acting. No, not really acting, but more like saying stuff that will get him press, right? By saying, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an actor, I want to be something, you know, lawyer. I want to be, yeah, I want to be those big shots, I guess. But as I think about it, I don't really want to become those guys. I don't know what I want to become even right now. I've been wanting to be an actor for so long. Kobayashi took out his own paper. He had also written, I want to be an actor on his.
学芸会のすぐ後一緒に書いたよな。
Yeah, I mean, kids are very impressionable. When you see something very cool in front of you, you kind of want to, do that yourself. But can you truly say that that's really what you want?
そんなことはあったね。
俺が桃太郎で翔ちゃんがキジで。
What's a pheasant? Is it the same as just a normal peasant? I never got a part as big as that pheasant ever again. I'd thrown my unachievable dream into the time capsule. Everything came flooding back. Facing each other at the table, the setting sun shining into the classroom. That kind smile was in front of me now. I thought that they were like childhood friends. That seems like they were still in high school. So he was lying out of his teeth when he was in high school? Huh. Because like the CG when he was being shoved, or not shoved, but being pointed by Kobayashi, it kind of looks like they were kids.
夢は叶ったかい？
ひどいこと聞くな。
Oh, sorry about that.
だけど君も幸せそうでよかったよ。
He uncrossed his legs to get comfortable as he looked around the room.
同棲っていいよな。カップも歯ブラシも2つある。気づくよ、それくらい。付き合い長いのかい
？1年かな。
責任取って結婚した方がいいぞ。
Guy? I wonder if we could get married.
彼女はどんな人？
Girlfriend.
黒髪、色白。
大和なでしこ？
全く。
So, I mean, I get that this is 1970 and, gay people are probably more discriminated. Even more so in Japan, but...
じゃじゃ馬なお嬢様？
お嬢様ではないけど、破天荒。
それでどんなところが好きなんだい？
Kobayashi asked, excited.
刃がかわいい。
うんうん。
Oh, it's the fang teeth thing.
笑い声もかわいい。
それで
絵もうまいし、面白いし、手が大きいところも好き。
ベタ惚れじゃないか。
あと、僕ほどじゃないけど力持ち。
なんとなく想像できたぞ。
I don't think so, Kobayashi. Well, that part was a lie, at least. Kobayashi's smiling face was terrifying to me.
なんて呼ばれてるんだ？
翔ちゃん。
彼女の名前は？
Akira?
あきらくん。
結婚したらかごめあきらちゃんか。
Kobayashi, how do you not... Akira's not even an ambiguous name. It's clearly a guy's name.
なんだ君は。
んだてめえ。
ヤクザが何の用かと聞いている。
So stupid.
ちょっとごめん。
I felt bad for Kosuke, but I quickly shut the door. I could feel him banging on the other side. Kobayashi and I looked at each other without exchanging a word.
翔ちゃん、おい、なんだそいつは。てめえ表出やがれ。
翔ちゃん、まさかこいつがあきらちゃん？
I thought you were able to, imagine her very well. I nodded a little. A sharp glint instantly flashed through his eyes as he pulled me away from the door. He went outside and approached Kosuke. Wondering what all the commotion was about, the landlady, Sally, and even Roboco had gathered around the apartment building. What a disaster. Kosuke took in a deep breath, ready to unleash a stream of expletives? What was that? I grabbed Kobayashi by the arm and ran down the stairs.
バス停まで送るよ。ごめん。
謝ることなんてない。
Grabbed my arm tight. His face and voice were surprisingly panicked.
脅されてるんじゃないよな。弱みを握られているんじゃ。
I mean, you said I was head over heels for him. Of course not.
そんなことないよ。
あれはどう見ても仇じゃない。すまない。見た目で判断するのは良くないよな。
You're not more concerned about the fact that he's a man?
とにかく、翔ちゃんが心配だ。
He took out a business card and wrote a time on the back.
話足りない。今度の日曜、あの喫茶店で待ってる。それじゃあまた。
Kobayashi left in a hurry. Even if I had wanted to give him back his note, it was too late now. Not sure what to do, I looked back down at the card. This is what was written on the back. Cafe Apollon, 2 p.m. Kobayashi was the kind of guy that would challenge you to a duel and wait for the rest of eternity for you to show up. I reluctantly put it in my pocket, shoulders drooping. When I turned around to go home, Kozuka was standing right behind me. His bottom lip was jutting out as he watched the crowd with suspicion.
誰？
小林くん。
名前は？
あきらくん。
Huh? Oh, what the fuck?
はーん。
Wow, I guess he saw Akira in Kozuka then. You know, Kobayashi.
おかえり。
Kozuka grabbed me by the sleeve and dragged me toward the station. His expression never changed. He was mad. Kobayashi and me. He bought 2 tickets for Shinjuku. The sun was setting as we rode along the Odaku line. This is gonna be a smut scene, isn't it? Shinjuku is known to be a red light district, guys. At night, anyway. There was no one else in the train car. Kozuka, refusing to sit, leaned against the left side door. Suddenly, Kozuka's face warped into a sob. His crying face was reflected in the window being hit with the light of dusk.
あいつが翔ちゃんの初恋の野郎かよ。
初恋？
昨日黙ったじゃねえか。好きだったんだなって聞いたら何も答えなかったじゃねえか。
友達としてに決まってるじゃないか。本当だよ。当たり前すぎるから答えなかったんだ。
I don't know about that.
というか、ずっと引きずってたんだね。ごめん。
It was in poor taste, but he was making such an awful face, I couldn't help but laugh. He looked offended. I really was becoming the worst kind of boyfriend.
君の気も知らないでごめん。だからちゃんと言うね。
I reached out and pressed against his nose with the tip of my finger.
本気で好きになったのは君だけ。
Do girls really like scenes like this?
こういうことしたいと思ったのも君だけだ。
I mean, I don't know. Like, if I was a guy and I see this as a guy and girl scene too, I wouldn't care. Like, I don't care whether it's girl on girl, boy on boy, or boy on guy. I just don't care about these scenes. I was about to tell him I'm serious. To stop worrying so much, but he wrapped both arms around me and hugged me tight. Past a train packed with people going home from work. The train rocked like we were in the middle of a storm, but Kozuka was here with me, so there was nothing to fear.
なんで笑うのさ。
I kinda knew this was gonna be a smutty scene. It's still safe for now, but once the CG starts going, I'm probably gonna have to censor this.
だと思ってよ。いきなりヒーロー役なんてそんなうまい話ねえよな。
信じてくれるんじゃなかったっけ？
He poured hot water over my head. After rubbing some shampoo in his hands, he lathered up my hair. He was rough with his hands, so I had to shut my eyes to avoid getting shampoo in them.
見たかったな、翔ちゃんの怪獣姿。気長に、気長にな。気長に。
Okay, this is still okay so far, but I know for a fact that they're probably gonna have sex after this. This is clearly a love hotel or something. Why else would they be in Shinjuku? I opened my eyes and saw my new hairdo.
楽しい。
We let the water flow freely into the bathtub. Oh, sorry. Kozuka rested his chin against my shoulder and sniffed, looking a little annoyed again. Kozuka's face was like a rolling dice.
あの小林なんとかってやろう。翔ちゃんに何の用だって？
タイムカプセルを持ってきてくれた。
抗がんチムだな。翔ちゃんをいじめたくせに今更よ。
I really don't think it was his fault, Kozuka. This guy was lying to him for who knows how long.
僕は一度も恨んでないよ。
ゴミの扱いしてやんねえと。あいつのためにはならねえ。
He said in a teasing voice. They were the ones that hated me, so there was no point in hitting them back.
君のことも聞かれたよ。
はあ？
君のどこが好きなのか聞かれた。
なんて答えた？
全部って。
ベッタベタ。
Do I need to censor this? I mean, you're not really seeing anything, but I don't know.
君ならなんて答える？
小林なんとかの質問には答えねえ。
僕が聞きたいだけ。
それはもちろん全部だろ
ベタベタだ。
う。だが、強いて言うなら匂いかな。
He brought his nose to my hair.
翔ちゃんからいい匂いがするんだよ。翔ちゃんが嬉しい時は濃くなって、悲しい時も濃くなる。
What bullshit.
どんな匂い？
Kozuka seemed to think for a bit, then muttered, oranges. I hadn't drank any orange juice in a while. I had drank something with a similar taste at the police station and a TV studio, though. Sensing the change in my mood, Kozuka tickled my sides. Perhaps he guessed my scent had grown stronger then, laughed.
考えてることも分かったりする。
超能力じゃねえからな。ただ鼻がいいっつう話。
そっか。
Just because I drink oranges doesn't mean I smell like oranges, guys. Oranges don't have that strong of a smell. If I eat durian, then yeah, I'm gonna smell like durian. My breath is gonna stink. If I eat stinky beans, my breath is gonna stink too. But oranges don't have that strong of a smell.
減ってない。やっぱり減ってる？
布団でしたいな。
Every time he made a face like that, I remembered he was younger than me. He pushed me down into bed, our hair and body still wet. Yeah, this is probably the scene, so I'm probably gonna have to plug the Patreon soon. We knew how the other moved their tongue, and when the other would stop to take a quick breath, I was always the one swallowing the excess saliva. It slipped down into the pit of my stomach, warming it.
足開いて。
And yeah, we're the female, as I said, so we're the one getting shoved in, not the other way around.
翔ちゃん。
Kaiju blood tasted like orange juice. That was something only people who have drank kaiju blood could know.
本当に後悔しない？
Didn't you do this yesterday?
するわけねえじゃん。
笑わないで真剣に言ってくれ。
生まれつきにやけてんだ。それとも、俺が嫌いだから試すようなこと言ってんのか？
君が怖くないならいいんだ。
怖がってんの、翔ちゃんだけだぜ。俺に何してほしい？
Before, I'd only think about touching him, wrapping myself around him, the pleasure. So why did it have to be like this now? Kaiju were contagious. If I knowingly passed something on to him, I'd be guilty of harm. I knew that and I still clung to his body.
入れて。
よーしよし。
Can I plug the Patreon now?
一緒に感染してほしい。
I don't care if people hate me, but if you were ever to reject me, I die. Alright, Patreon.com/Azaikyousuke. Don't worry, YouTube. I kinda see the scene a tiny bit on the previous episode, but it was mostly just smut, so you're not really missing out on much. So no need to worry by me censoring this. People on Patreon will be getting these early access, but that's about it. I don't think my, I don't think a lot of people in my that watches me are also females in the first place, nor are they into yaoi stuff. This I think. I don't know. If you are, then you're probably those rare ones that do. So people on Patreon, they're just gonna see this like super early access. That's about it. So if you guys on YouTube also want to see this early access, you can just do the channel member. So nothing lost really. But yeah, if you guys are into this, enjoy. While I go take a bathroom break. Okay, that's it. Okay, that was super short. These smut scenes in these games are very short, guys. So I normally don't think yaoi scenes are like this. I feel like they're kind of unneeded actually in this game. So a bit awkward. It was actually already not the CG anymore past like in the end there. Maybe in like what during the I bit my lip or something. But yeah, you guys really didn't see, like, didn't miss much. That's like, what, 2 minutes? There was like one CG and that was it. In the end, I let myself get swept away by him once again. I stood in front of the mirror and saw hickeys left on my shoulders, sides and chest. I wouldn't be able to go to the bathhouse for a while. There was nowhere other than this secret room that I could take a bath though. Maybe I needed to get Kozuka a muzzle. I'm sure if I told him it was my kink, he still wouldn't go for it. When I went back to bed, I found Kozuka sprawled out on the bed asleep. He was happily snoring away. The blue light of dawn came shining in from the window. It made the tattoo on his back even more vibrant. I had seen that design somewhere other than Kozuka's back. Kozuka didn't let go of my hand after we left the room, or even while we waited for the elevator. Maybe he is from a Yakuza-like clan, who knows? When I looked up at him, his squinty eyes closed even more as he smiled and brought his face close.
どうした？
答えたくないなら答えなくていいんだけどさ。この間の夜、どこに行ってたの？
この間って？
僕が仙川で怪獣を見た日。
家にいたぜ。便所から出たらちょうど翔ちゃんと入れ違ったな。
いつも入れ違うかな？
いつもってことはないだろう。何考えてんの？
He squeezed my hand tight. Maybe I was overthinking it. I was about to tell him never mind, when the elevator stopped. I immediately snatched my hand back and moved away from Kozuka a bit. There was nothing unusual about two guys sharing the same elevator at a love hotel. I prayed they wouldn't get on. For some reason, the door stayed open. When I looked up...
先輩たち
Why is Sally here? What the fuck? You're banging Sally?
え
Thought that you have a girlfriend, Hayata. What the fuck?
サリーさん。
隼人君
お先にどうぞ
おい待て、乗れ。
Three men and one girl were now crammed into the small elevator. Kozuka and I were glaring at Hayata with the same face.
隼人君。
違うんす天に誓って浮気じゃないっす
Okay, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
転んで足捻挫して帰れないっぽいんでたまたま俺っちが
んなこと信じられっか。
本当なんすっていうかサリーちゃんと皆さんお知り合い
お隣さんだよ。
それじゃあわかるでしょサリーちゃんは貧乳俺っち巨乳好きドンタッチロリ
I don't know about that.
やっちゃえ小塚くん。
おう。
なんでそうなるんすか
Yada sobbed. I was the one being shaken though.
怪我してるんなら病院に連れて行くべきだろ
お金ないっぽいんですもんこのホテルなら先輩から割引券もらってたんで
先輩って配達所の？
But why the fuck would you actually want her to stay at this hotel? So weird.
いいえ、アキラ先輩っす。
He pointed at Kozuka.
アキラ先輩、ラブホだなんて聞いてないっすよ。
I mean, even then, you don't want to just go and have a girl stay at a hotel for no reason. Sure, she's hurt, but what the fuck? That's kind of weird.
小塚くんどういうこと？君たち知り合いだったの？
The elevator suddenly stopped. It must have malfunctioned. We wouldn't be moving anytime soon. None of that matter right now, though.
小塚くん！
ラブホで割引券って恥ずかしいだろ。だからほにゃほにゃ。
It's embarrassing? I wouldn't say so.
そうじゃなくて。
I know that means that you probably frequent that place a lot, but come on.
先輩たちはなんでここに？
よくぞ聞いた。何を隠そう翔ちゃんこそ。
清掃！ホテル清掃！
仕事見つかったんすね。よかった。
He hugged me, crying. Kozuka grinded his teeth as he watched, so I made sure to pat Hayata on the head while I was at it. I mean, he's clearly hiding the fact that he's gay, but...
サリーさん、本当に何もされてないんだね。
やん。
足はもう平気。
やん。
That was good then. The least she could do is actually speak in her own language so that we sort of understand. What's the point of just saying yan yan yan? That's actually more retarded than anything.
隼人くんもサリーさんを助けてくれてありがとう。
Just because she's cute doesn't mean I'm gonna let that go, guys. That actually makes her sound autistic. Not to, like, shit on autistic people, but, you know.
当然っす。俺っちヒーローなんで。
He grinned and bowed toward me. I was glad it was just a misunderstanding. When I really thought about it, there was no way Hayata would ever do anything sordid. He didn't know Halden was a love hotel. Isn't that Kozuka's fault? Whenever I try to ask him for more details, he turned away with an almost cartoonish look of innocence in his face.
ところで、このエレベーターまだ動かないっすね。
Maybe a kaiju destroyed the generator or something? Something disastrous must have happened before all this mess. I tried the emergency phone, but it wouldn't connect to the front desk. The lights were dim too. The emergency lights must have switched on at some point.
これ
The hero's siren. The reason we weren't able to hear it throughout the hotel was probably because the power had gone out.
どうします？
Suddenly, Kozuka stood in front of the tightly shut doors and thrust his fingers into the gap. Yeah, I guess Kozuka might be the white Icarus. Even then, like, what's the point of the white Icarus?
何してるの？
何って出ようとしてんだろ。
The door slowly began to open. That's probably one of the reasons why he knew that Sakura's mom died, right? Because he was the one that killed it. You know, the crow kaiju. It had stopped halfway between floors. I could feel a draft coming from the upper half. Kosuke grabbed on and lifted himself halfway up. I had no idea what he was thinking and ended up grabbing onto his clothes.
翔ちゃんはここにいてな。人呼んでくるわ。
待ってれば助けが来るよ。
It also somehow makes sense the fact that he was the one that killed the kaiju that was in the police station, right? Because for some reason, Sho was saved. This time Hayata was tugging on my clothes. Kosuke used that chance to slip away. All that was left in my hand was his jacket.
きっとおしっこっすよ。我慢できなかったんじゃないっすか？
It was true that he was the kind of person who could barely manage their own bodily functions. But even I was embarrassed someone else was pointing it out.
追いかけてくる。
危ないっすよ。
If Kozuka could fit through here, I'd have an even easier time getting through. I crawled out into a pitch-black hallway. Where had Kozuka gone? I couldn't hear the sound of his geta. Oh, I know what the geta is. It's those wood sandals. All I could hear was the continuous sound of the hero siren in the distance. Using the light from the elevator, I grabbed the fire extinguisher on the wall.
ハヤタ君はサリさんお願い。
そんな。
Once my eyes adjusted to the darkness, I saw something coming from the corner. It was a light from something other than the elevator. I followed along the wall, turned down the corner, and saw the bright blue sky through the shape of a door. It was the emergency staircase. I was hit with a cold breeze once I got outside. The red lights of ambulances and police cars were going around and round in a panic. I heard something and turned around. It sounded like something was being dragged along the floor. A shadow climbed up the spiral staircase and turned away without noticing me. Sally was crying. The shadow was heading toward the noise. I hit the door with the fire extinguisher in my hands. The shadow stopped.
小塚君
Sticky kaiju. It was a kaiju. The kaiju hadn't noticed Sally and Hayate yet. I needed to distract it. I made more noise with the fire extinguisher. I was trying to get it to come toward me. I'd run down the emergency stairs right before it could get to me. It shouldn't be able to fit its huge body through the door. Hopefully, Icarus would be here by then. The kaiju came running toward me. I'd already taken out the stopper and the extinguisher. There wasn't even time to take a single step back. A black hand was coming right at me. It opened its long claws to grab my face. I'm going to die. As soon as that thought crossed my mind, I hate this game sometimes. A gust of wind blew by me. The wind sparkled white with extinguisher foam.
なんだよこれ。翔ちゃん、消火器止めろって。
As soon as I let go of the extinguisher, Kozuka fell into my chest. The two of us ended up falling onto the stairs. The extinguisher finally stopped spouting. If I remember correctly, extinguishers only went off for 15 seconds. All of that happened in less time than that. I snapped out of my daze.
怪獣は
翔ちゃんが消火器で倒した。
How impossible is that? I looked around but couldn't find a black mass anywhere.
本当
Of course not, you idiot. It was like you said, the hero siren had stopped.
怪我は頭打ったりしてね。
してない。
Actually, you...
浦島太郎みたいだね。
もう。
The sirens stopped and were replaced by Sally's wailing. It was almost funny how loud she was screaming. At the same time, I could finally breathe. This time, it was me being pulled into Kozuka's chest. His heart was beating even faster than mine.
こんだけバクついても何にもなんねんだ。
This is reminding me of that game called Golden something. What was it? It was an Overdrive title. I forgot the name. Or was it an Overdrive title? Let me check real quick, guys. It's on my Steam. What game was it called? Like the whole superhero slash heroine that's being saved multiple times thing. It's kind of reminding me of that, and I didn't enjoy reading that because I was always a damsel in distress. So I always hated it. Let me see. Where was it? Was it an Overdrive title or what was it? Something Lightning was its name, I think. Give me like 1 second while I take a look at my Steam here. I think it was an Overdrive title. Where is it? Maybe I don't have it. Something Lightning. I don't see it. Overdrive? No, it's not Overdrive, I guess. Overdrive doesn't have it. It must be one of those, like, not Tuda, but, the beautiful, like, you know, something games. Which I don't remember the name of. I think it was Gactun or something. Was it Gacktun? Yeah, I think it's called Gacktun.
やっぱり翔ちゃんは怪獣じゃねえよ。
怪獣の正体は電気整備士だった。感電の拍子に怪獣化し、エレベーターを直そうと上階へやってきた。理性はとうに失われていた。翔太郎、君がいなければサリーさんたちが襲われていた。翔太郎、君の勇気に乾杯だ。
じゃ俺っちはこれで。
That narration is clearly just my delusions, right? Once the investigation was over, Hayata volunteered to escort Sally home. Relieved to see that he didn't seem to be feeling guilty anymore, I left it to him. See you, he said before turning away.
あのさ、隼人君。
I frantically called out to him before he could turn down a corner. My words instantly got caught in my throat. If it was just going to cause more problems for us in the future, though, it was better to let it all out now.
僕たち付き合ってるんだ。
誰と誰がすか？
僕と小塚君が。
マジっすか？
うん。
Ayada came running toward us. Sally lifted her injured foot and hopped on one leg behind him. My face turned red when they looked into my eyes.
水臭いじゃないっすか。
I really don't think 1970 Japan would react this way, Hayata.
テクヤン、ヤンテク。
What are you talking about, Sally?
テクヤン。
テクヤン。
なんて？
わからない。
なんで黙ってたんすか？
小塚君と知り合いだったなんて知らなかったから。
先輩が紹介してくれたらこんな驚かずに済んだんすよ。
そっか。そうだよね。ごめん。
Hayata and Sally looked at each other and smiled. I thought they'd turn on us, but they didn't seem to mind at all. I was relieved they were happy for us. They left feeling much lighter on their feet. Feeling like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders, I looked up at Kozuka.
翔ちゃん大胆。
勝手に話してごめん。
いや、俺は嬉しいぜ。
The back of our hands brushed against each other and our fingers intertwined. He scratched the back of his neck, embarrassed.
あいつとは前の仕事が一緒で、隠してたわけじゃねえんだが。
そういうこともあるよね。
It's not like it happened somewhere on the other side of the world. They just happened to meet in a big city in little old Japan. The important thing was that we were surrounded by only the kindest people.
今日は映画に連れてってくれる約束だろ。
I don't know. I don't really need kind people in my circle of friends, to be honest. I need people who are honest.
おうってあれ、チケット。
He searched through his haramaki. A crumpled piece of paper fell out. When I reached for it,
ちぎれて半券になってる。
せやせ。
I was always laughing when I was around Kozuka. The movie I wanted to see was part one of Everyone Has It Rough. Tell Me You'll Love Me Torataro. My hero Jiro Sayashi would be making his appearance as the male Madonna before Kozuka's beloved Torataro came on screen. Part 2 was currently in the process of being filmed. We had missed the afternoon show, but we caught the evening one. I probably would have enjoyed it back in the day. He was no longer just anyone fighting as the hero in Kaiju. Jiro Sayashi had become someone I feared. Part 2 should be okay.
今回のトラタラをチューしなかったな。最後には必ずするのによ。
相手が男だから。
だが恋愛はしてたぜ。後編でやると思うな、俺は。
男女だったら一作完結なのに、男と男じゃ辻褄合わせが大変だね。
I mean, you gotta have some background about why the guy likes a guy. I mean, I'm not really one of those guys, as I said, who cares if a guy likes a guy, girl likes a girl, or whatever. But, you know, I feel like sometimes there can be people who, when they just get born, they suddenly just say, yeah, I like a guy. there are people like that, but sometimes for most of us, I feel like sexual orientation is something that can be swayed depending on your circumstances and situation. Not to say that, as I said, just as you're born, you already know what you like. There are people like that, but sometimes when people are very curious about their, especially when they're like in their teens or whatever, they try to explore stuff. That was pretty obvious considering our own relationship. The quiet Kanda River was to our side. The streetlights went on endlessly ahead. Kanda is actually a place I want to visit when I next go to Japan, because I believe that's Amane's hometown. Amane from Grisaya.
後編のサブタイトルなんだっけ？
虎太郎、濡れたまんまで行っちゃって。
来年も見るしかねえな。
うん。
I was trying to hint that I didn't really want to see it. I was glad he was already making plans for us to see it like it was the most natural thing in the world though.
あ、またヒーローサイレン。
こりゃ渋谷の方だな。
行かなくていいの？
は
あ？なんてね。
俺がヒーロ
ー？夜中に急にいなくなるからさ。
今朝言いたかったことってそれかよ。ないないない。
With our elevator stopping and running into Hyata, I didn't get a chance to ask. You're a superhero, aren't you?
民間ヒーローって試験があんだろ？めんどくせえ。
簡単だよ。書類を出せば週末には受けられる。
詳しいな。
一度受けたことあるんだ。
I'd taken judo, so I was pretty confident in my strength. I could always go wherever the siren went off on my bike.
結果は？
ダメだった。ヒーロースーツが基準に満たなくて。
うわ、見てー。翔ちゃんのスーツ姿超見て
ー。How are you not able to fit the suit? You're very small.
笑わないでよ。
爆笑しない自信がない。
ひどいな。
ヒーロースーツって超ダセーじゃん。覆面義務のくせにケツ丸出しだし。
かっこいいと思うけど。
ダセダセ。
He kept saying lame over and over again. When I turned away annoyed, he smiled mischievously.
俺の夢は漫画で当てて家買ってそこでのんびり翔ちゃんと暮らすこと。ヒーロー回り道なんかしてられっかよ。こんな俺でも信じてやって。
What he meant was, trust me. If he would have said that, I would have had no choice but to accept it. The hero siren in the distance stopped. Someone had defeated the kaiju.
小塚くん。
なーに？
手つなごうか。
I reached for his hand before I'd even finished speaking. It felt nice and cool. I hope that means you think mine is nice and warm.
どうしたんだい？ぼーっとして。
Chapter 1 of this game is really long. I wonder how many chapters there are in this game.
ごめん。何の話だっけ？
I bumped into the table when I snapped out of it. I had accepted Kobayashi's challenge to a duel. I mean, met him at Cafe Apollon. It was an expensive cafe outside of Seijo University Station. Kobayashi would take me here after school all the time. Back then, my legs would hang off the seat, and my feet couldn't reach the floor. Yeah, see? If you're a freaking high schooler, there's no way you would do that. There's no way your feet wouldn't reach the floor. That means that they were children. That CG doesn't make sense to me then. Now I could face him with my feet planted firmly on the ground. I didn't tell Kosuke I was coming here. I was going to introduce him when I got home though.
君ってオレンジ色の食べ物好きだよな。
He jiggled my orange gelatin. I was embarrassed to have it pointed out like this.
子供っぽいよね。
いや、そうじゃない。小塚なんとかくんもそんな感じの人だと思ってさ。
I think kids prefer chocolate than oranges. His voice was laughing, but his face was dead. How did he do that without moving his cheeks?
暖色系っていうのかな。常に灯油かぶってるみたいな。肩が擦れたら暴発するんじゃ。
怖そうとはよく言われるみたい。
常人は入れ墨なんか掘らないからな。
あの腕は。
Was the pattern in my pajamas. He got it out of the blue the day he told me he'd always be faithful. It was my first time dating a man. Well, anyone for that matter. I thought it was romantic at the time.
そういうところあるかも。
やっぱりイカれてる。
優しい人だよ。
Kobayashi looked away.
君が言うなら間違いないさ。
His voice sunk, dejected. Kobayashi was always so assertive. It was weird to see him like this. As long as I've known him, he had never once admitted that he was wrong. There was a sudden silence. Actually, I could tell he was about to get to the point of this conversation.
大学の同期はみんな東京を出た。まだ日本にいるのかなんて手紙をよこすやつもいる。
Kobayashi was currently in charge of kaiju investigation as an assistant inspector.
翔ちゃんは怪獣をどう思う？
He drank down his hot coffee. Then he uncrossed his legs and leaned in close.
人の犯罪率と悪玉怪獣の暴走率は一緒だ。よっぽど人の方がむごいことをしている。本来なら取り立てて騒ぐことじゃないんだ。
Oh, sorry about that. I wasn't very smart, so his complicated words were going over my head.
おかしいと思わないか？怪獣の受け入れを訴えながらヒーロードラマやショーが規制されないなんて。
That was true. I still don't understand what the thing is with these hero dramas or whatever.
俺はこんな世の中を変えたくて東京にいるんだ。
If Kosuke's color was orange, Kobayashi's was a burning red.
君のために。君を怪獣だと言って傷つけてしまった。ずっと悔いが残っていた。すまない。
昔の話じゃないか。もういいよ。
だから俺は怪獣になった。
I dropped the last spoonful of my gelatin. Kobayashi swiftly pulled out a napkin and cleaned off the table. What do you mean?
詳しいことは車で話そう。
待って。今なんて言ったの？
詳しいことは車でだけど。
I meant the other thing. Somehow managed to talk me into going somewhere with him.
オレンジの名前は知っているだろう。
It was the organization that advocated for kaiju rights. They protested against Icarus and were opposed to local superheroes. I'd see them sometimes making speeches in Shinjuku or outside other major train stations. That was all I knew about them.
今からそこに行く。知人の情報はすべて登録することになっていてね。君にも勧誘を飛ばしていいと達しが来たんだ。
そうじゃなくて。
ん？ああ、警察にもオレンジはいっぱいいるよ。
Ah, he's a kaiju too means that he's actually part of this organization.
世間的には左翼団体と思われているから大声では言えないけどね。
That wasn't what I wanted to know.
なんで怪獣になったの？
君のためだ。
清子さんと正しくんには話したのかい？
いや、二人は巻き込めない。
I couldn't believe it. But his straightforward personality seemed to... Ooh, sorry, I kinda hit my mouse by accident. Seemed to have warped, sending him careening down the wrong path. I wouldn't have been surprised if he suddenly drove the car off a cliff. That was how little I could understand him right now. We were speeding along in his car, but there was no turning back. I held onto my seatbelt and nervously looked ahead. I could see the ocean on the way. I also saw the airport that was nearby. I saw a sign that read Chiba, but we continued to drive through the empty hills. I eventually saw a giant windmill. It looked like that was where the car was headed. Chiba, huh? Kobayashi stopped in a parking lot. Got out, but I couldn't move.
やっぱり僕。
He opened the passenger door and gently released my seatbelt.
怖がらなくても怪しいところじゃないよ。
There was a peephole at the clearly sketchy entrance.
交際認証で扉が開く。テレビドラマでよくあるだろう。いわゆるそれだ。
Kobayashi brought his face close and the door slowly opened.
翔ちゃんも登録するといい。
He pushed me from behind and I hesitantly brought my face close. I saw a middle-aged man looking away from me. Suddenly, he was inspecting my eye.
人力なんだね。
がっかりするだろう。
I mean, yeah, they don't have the technology right now.
悪用されたら怖いな。
その心配はない。何せ人力だからな。
A dense humidity came pouring out when the door opened. There was a heavy smell of oil in the air that didn't seem safe to breathe. It felt like it was seeping into my lungs.
ついてきてくれ。この先に見せたいものがある。
The door closed behind us. No longer able to escape, I did as Kobayashi instructed.
何を見せられてもオレンジに入る気はないよ。
もちろん、君の性格くらい分かってるさ。
ついてきたのは君に聞きたいことがあるから。
He began to walk and I followed behind.
君に何があったの？
学校じゃ教わらない勉強法を悪い大人に教わっただけさ。
Not necessarily, Kobayashi. Some schools are actually decent.
悪いって定義はイカロスにとっての一側面。今の俺にとってはオレンジこそが正義だ。
No, nothing is true righteousness. The way he spoke was something that definitely hadn't changed about him from when we were kids. The same went for those eyes beaming with hopes and dreams.
人種差別が取り沙汰されても怪獣の迫害が問題視されたことはない。なぜだかわかるかい？
それは。
Because they're monsters? They have the power to hurt people. So do people too. So do people too. Take a look at people with guns. Take a look at people with knives. They have the power to hurt people too.
醜いからだよ。
The elevator stopped and a pretty girl got on. She was wearing a white and orange uniform I often saw outside the station. She was a kaiju too?
ここにいるのはありえもしない風評にさらされた人たちだ。ひどい方法で家族を奪われた人もいる。弱者の立場に初めて立って分かったんだ。イカロスは間違ってるって。
You're a second-class citizen? The people who got on the elevator with us had all gotten off, leaving us alone again.
それでも僕はイカロスが好きだよ。
最初はみんなそうさ。オレンジを信じるきっかけは人それぞれ。ドラマがある。
The elevator opened up at the very top floor. Apparently, the humidity came all the way up from the basement. I wouldn't be surprised if Chotsuka is here. A heavy-looking door was in front of us. Kobayashi held out a card. It wasn't some human-powered gimmick like the iris scanner. This time it was a door only he could open.
これから君に新しいドラマを見せよ
う。The humidity increased. And I saw some kind of black, heavy, smooth, and shining metal from behind a steam. What a creepy robot. I could barely make out how big it was, even after examining it for a while. Its body reached all the way to the basement. Is it dead? Sleeping? I wasn't sure how I felt about this machine.
ギガントロー。戦争のために作られた軍用ロボット兵器だ。
I like how they have an echo effect in his voice, making it, making it apparent how big this place is.
使われることはなかったけどな。
Tanks, battleships, and other machines made for battle were angular, but this robot was round and smooth without a single sharp edge. It looked more like a plane flying in the sky, or a submarine under the ocean. I wasn't sure if it was meant for good or evil, but it felt ominous.
俺は鉄人と呼んでいる。
鉄人？
日本軍がつけた呼称さ。
Why did Orange have something like this? Kobayashi ignored that my hands were shaking uncontrollably and scooped them up in his own. He held them tight and fixed his eyes on me.
俺は今度こそ君の味方になる。怪獣の未来をこいつで変えてみせる。
僕は怪獣じゃない。小塚くんが証明してくれたんだ。もう帰るよ。
待ってくれ翔ちゃん。俺たちは。
Feeling someone's eyes on me, I turned away from Kobayashi. He was right beside the door. Kobayashi followed my blank stare. There was someone clinging to the wall. Yeah, it's Chotsugai.
いや、奇遇だ。
Kobayashi immediately slammed the red button on the wall closest to him with his fist. Orange members came running toward us, their footsteps in time with the alarm. They grabbed Chotsugai and pinned him against the wall. He was following us.
一体どこから侵入した？侵入とは人聞きの悪い。僕は広報担当に招かれて正面玄関から堂々と山田君と連絡がつかない。彼をたばかったな。1階のカメラマンに何をおっしゃいますか？
No, I guess he didn't follow us. He was already wanting to go to this place. He weaved his fingers together and crossed his legs. He hardly looked as if he were in the middle of an interrogation. Kobayashi's face only relaxed when he turned to me to say, "Hold on one sec," as he waved. His waving hand turned into a fist and slammed against the table. Across from his glare was, of course, Chotsugai.
貴様が撮った鉄人の写真には何と説明つける？それも山田さんに頼まれて、さっさと解放していただきたい。生きて帰れると思うな。貴様は俺が始末する。情報漏洩は俺のせいだ。こんな男と関わったばかりに。
小林くん、冗談だよね。
Kobayashi's face went dark. After a moment's hesitation, he grabbed Chotsugai by the collar and hoisted him up.
ついてこい。
小林くん、
見せしめだ。
待って。
A cool, clear voice, like droplets of water, called out. He lowered the light shining on Chotsugai, startling Kobayashi. How long had he been there?
一色殿。
私が彼を招いたの。ただちょっと深く誘いすぎてしまったわね。
Interesting. Who's this guy? Called him Dono, so he's pretty high ranking. I wasn't sure if he was the right way to address him. His earring reflected like a prism whenever he moved. His body and voice were that of a man, but everything else about him was feminine.
蝶つがいさん、あなたはもう帰っていいわ。
You really didn't think that he was feminine from that CG before this, but his sprite is pretty feminine.
その子も一緒に連れて、ね。
ぶっ壊されたカメラの代金、後で請求させてもらう。
Chotsugai adjusted his color in a huff, then left the room alone. The man named Ishiki turned his eyes on me. I'd overstayed my welcome. Honestly, I was grateful for that. We walked out into the light toward the parking lot where we had started.
待て。一色殿が許しても俺の気が済まない。
Kobayashi's eyes were ablaze. He had to clench his trembling fists to control his rage. Chotsugai just scoffed.
規模もセリフも金持ちのヒーローごっこは格が違うな。ごっこだと？さあ、もっと怒って変身したまえよ。写真を撮ってあげよう。
I really do like Chotsugai, guys. I said this in my like a Patreon post, but he's probably so far my favorite character. He knows how to trigger people.
翔ちゃん、今日のところはお別れだ。また迎えに行く。
So I'm kind of afraid that he's gonna push the wrong buttons on someone and he's gonna die. Kobayashi muttered sadly before going back to the institution. The door slammed shut again. The passenger door of Chotsugai's Paprika 800 opened. I lost my ride home, so I begrudgingly got into the car. The wheels squealed as we left Orange. After driving through the green hills that looked like they had been drawn in crayon. This was going to be the worst carpool ever. I was sure neither of us wanted to look at the other. He started to smoke a cigarette without asking me. I rolled down the window and leaned back in my seat so I wouldn't have to smell the smoke. I really hated cigarettes.
僕に付きまとわないでください。また悪い噂を流すんでしょ。
そんなに不都合な真実だったわけかい。
I think this is much bigger.
要するに、僕を敵に回さない方がいい。
He pulled out a small paper from his breast pocket. I took it from him and unfolded it. It was a copy of a list of names. Totsuga's handwriting was terrible, which is a perfect reflection of his inner Oh, really good burn there.
よく見たまえ。その名前に見覚えはなんだ。
字が汚くて読めません。
ああ、くそ。
He took off his shoe this time and pulled out another piece of paper. I unfolded it carefully and saw a typed list of names. This must have been the original. I searched through the names like I was sold. Kosuke?
その名に覚えは
父の名前です。
Oh. Tetsuro Kagome. It was right there in black and white.
君のお父さんはオレンジに注視される人物だった。何か聞かされていないかい？
He's dead though, right?
何も。
Died when I was little. I couldn't even remember what he looked like.
カゴメ博士は当時の軍事開発に関わっていた。
I see. So this was why he got close to us.
さあ大変。これから君は悪の組織に追われるだろう。
Though he might be lying, he is a pretty good liar. That sounded like a line from a Western film. Unfortunately for him, I had no interest in suspense dramas. His story was going in one ear and out the other.
僕は関係ありません。
そう言ってまりでいたまえ。だが不安だろう。怖いだろう。そこで僕の近くにいれば安全だよ。
No, you probably want me as a bargaining chip, Chotsugai.
放っておいてください。
ところで今渡した名簿はどうした？
捨てました。
バカか君は。今すぐ取ってこい。
He didn't actually expect me to get those lists. She was only using to tell me some ridiculous half-truths, did he? I threw them into the wind. They were probably dissolving in the nearby ocean by now. I continued to glare at him, never saying a word, until he reluctantly started the car again. I mean, even if it was that important, he definitely had a copy. He suddenly slowed down and stopped at a nearby car rental place.
ちょっと待っていたまえ、カゴメくん。
He pointed to the back of a running Subaru as a worker came up to him. That was definitely Chotsugai's car.
あれは
昨日入った車です。夜には帰ってきますよ。
誰が乗っている？
若いアベックです。東京湾へ夜景を見に行くそうです。
Chotsugai rushed toward the car, but it zoomed away. They disappeared into the distant horizon before they could even get their seatbelts on. I'm glad I got out. I wouldn't get involved with this guy again. Luckily, there was a train station nearby. I'd ask a station employee how to get back to Soshigaya. Someone steal his car? Am I supposed to press something? Yeah, I was. I wondered why my life was always like this. One day something good would happen, and then, while I'm feeling happy, something was sure to go wrong the next. I didn't believe Chotsuga had a sixth sense, but maybe death really was clinging to me. Maybe it was the one that decided when I could smile. I looked up at the sky and felt the cold snow against the tip of my nose. The snowflake melted against the heat of my skin. The family walking ahead of me seemed excited as they veered to the side of the road. Nearby, there was a vendor selling steaming baked yams under a dim light. Sounds delicious. A father handed the child a warm paper bag. I also bought enough for 3 people. One for me, one for Kozuka, and the last one would be for Sakura, if she was there. Yeah, right. The light was on in the apartment. There were small footsteps going up the stairs, dusted with snow. They stopped in front of her apartment. The metal doorknob had been crushed. What the hell? The lock had been ripped off. Someone was drawing a red Icarus on top of some drawing paper and a table. What the fuck? Why is she naked? Sakura, completely naked, was silently destroying a crayon.
Sakura-chan?
おかえりなさい。
待ってて、施設に電話するから。
せんでええよ。
This was serious. Not sure what to do, she sat there with a crayon in her hand and wouldn't move. At a loss for words, I sat down next to her. I then wrapped my arms around her tiny body.
この前はごめんな。大事な人形、ボロボロにしてもうて。
What is going on in this story, bro? I feel like there's so many disconnects right now.
あんちゃんとしょうちゃんさんにな。さくらんこと嫌わんといて。
Why are you naked though? Yeah, I get that you're running away, but why are you naked? And why did you crush my door? Are you a kaiju? I asked her to tell me what happened. Sakura.
誇らんで聞いてくれる？
There was a loud knock on the door. Sakura jumped and looked toward the door, then hid.
警察です。かごめ翔太郎さんはいますか？
I threw a blanket over Sakura and gave her shoulder a firm squeeze. Wait here, I said. Her head moved, silently letting me know that she'd hurt me. It was such a slight movement, I couldn't tell if she had nodded or shaken her head. I opened the door.
ここに怪獣が入ったと通報がありました。
Yeah, she's a kaiju.
知りません。
この人、怪獣です。
An armed officer hidden to the side swung his nightstick down at me. What the fuck? Bro! I turned around as my consciousness faded. Sakura. The curtain over the east window was fluttering like a skirt in the wind. Okay, the reason why she's naked is because she probably turned into a kaiju and then turned back. My vision went dark. Was I asleep? Was there no moon out tonight? The chair I was strapped into was as cold as ice. My head hung low as I shrunk back. Where was I? Had someone set fire to the orphanage? Was I suspected of kidnapping? I felt like I heard someone read those charges against me.
その時間君はどこにいましたか？
あなたは
君と同じ怪獣です。
僕は怪獣じゃない。
A kaiju. My consciousness went flying again. I felt the cold chill in my back. I could tell from the numbness that lingered longer than the last time that they had increased the voltage.
私に嘘は通じません。怪獣同士、瞳の色でわかりますから。
So all kaijus have their orange eyes then? I mean, Kobayashi said he is a kaiju, so he didn't just join orange, so he has turned into a kaiju. Did he like voluntarily drink or kaiju blood or something?
さくらさんをさらった怪獣。君で間違いないですね。
Huh?
違う。僕は。
I'm not a kaiju. I'm human. I'd never hurt anyone. All I wanted to know right now was if Sakura was alright. That was it, but all I could do now was hang my head. He told me to transform. That way he could prove I was the kaiju that kidnapped Sakura. How many people had sat in this chair? The iron armrests were dented and didn't look like it was just for decoration. This was what the police did. This was what Kobayashi had seen.
君も怪獣である前に人間だろう。君が怪獣に何をされたかわからないけど、僕は違う。絶対に悪さしない。
電圧上げて。
お願いです。
いいから。
信じてください。
The cuffs came off my wrists. The boy shrunk back as if there was a monster in front of him. So this is like one of those, you know, like torture chairs, right? Where they put the electric chair, right? That's the name of the torture thing, torture device. I hadn't broken them with my own strength though. The door opened and a blinding light came flooding into the room.
炎の怪獣が現れた。施設に火を放った怪獣と同じ外形だ。保釈だ。帰りなさい。
Sakura. The boy walked briskly out of the room. He didn't look back or say anything to me. So this is the discrimination that Kobayashi was talking about. They were clearly wrong about us, and we didn't even get a chance. Like, they didn't even apologize for this fact. Just because they know that we're kaiju. I see. I tried to stand up as carefully as I could, but I tripped over my own feet and fell to the floor. I could understand why Kobayashi wanted to, you know... But what's the word I'm looking for here? Wanted to be on the side of the kaijus. My nails were broken. I must have left my own marks on that chair. The snow fell quietly, blanketing the town in the silence of the night. I was walking with my head down to make sure I wouldn't trip, when I saw a snowman by the wall. I brushed the snow off its head and felt something familiar underneath.
火の怪獣。桜だった。
And this game is depressing, bro. I said that in the first game, but yeah, it's pretty damn depressing.
イカロスってろくなやつじゃねえな。
So they killed Sakura?
いっそ殺しゃいいのに、ボロボロに殴っといて、取り逃がして。
See.
小塚君。
He grabbed my injured hand, pressed it against his forehead, and cried. His hands were numb and shaking.
すまねえ。俺、桜にも、翔ちゃんにも。
Oh, sorry about that. Sakura left the orphanage because she wanted to apologize to Kozuka. She didn't get to fulfill her wish yet. I hoped she could.
さくらちゃんを見つけよう。警察よりもイカロスよりも先に。
If they came after us, the three of us could just run far, far away.
家族ってそういうものだろう。
Instead of replying, Kozuka hugged me tight. The fire at the orphanage was all over the news the next day. I turned off the TV and took Kozuka outside.
最後に目撃されたのは三宮橋の方だって聞き込みに。
There were people in orange and white uniforms standing outside Soshigaya Station. They were shouting through megaphones and handing out flyers with stern looks on their faces. I couldn't believe Orange would show up even outside small stations like this. They were condemning Icarus's cruelty and harassment of the fire kaiju.
さくらちゃんはきっと生きてる。きっと大丈夫。小塚君。
Kozuka was heading toward them. The megaphone screeched as it was smacked away.
桜を出しにすんじゃねえ。てめえらに桜を止められたかよ。
I dragged Kozuka away before he could grab anyone.
イカロスでもどうにもできねえ化け物。てめえらの工場でどうにかできたかよ。おい、答えろよ。
I mean, they're trying to use her because if she dies, she might help other people, other kaijus that are after her. I could understand why they're doing that, but, you know, Kozuka is emotional right now.
小塚君。
I forced Kozuka back. The orange members ran toward their cars. Kozuka turned his anger toward me. He stared at me, eyes wide open, when I smacked him across the face.
寄り道してる暇ないよ。早くさくらちゃんを探しに行こう。返事して。
やっぱりよ、もういいぜ。ああ、痛えから泣けてきた。
たくさん泣いていいよ。
殴らないで普通に言って。
The hand rubbing his cheek eventually moved to his head. His now disheveled hair covered his eyes as he slowly turned away. He was headed toward the south exit.
電車の乗り場はあっちだよ。
しばらく一人になりてえや。頭冷えたら帰ってくるからよ。
What about searching for Sakura? Honestly, I wanted to hit him again to stop him from going. Maybe if I did, he'd cycle through his phases like the roll of a dice, and eventually go back to his normal self. The train left, and by the time the crossing gate lifted, gone. The hand I used to smack him was tingling. I didn't want to do it, but if I hadn't, I had a feeling he would have become someone I could no longer recognize.
行っちゃいましたね。
Okay, you're part of Orange, huh?
ひばりのです。
こんにちは。
Wait a sec. Wasn't that an orange uniform? The flyers that said Kozuka off were in his hands. He swiftly removed the uniform and neatly placed the flyers into the station trash can.
バイトです。車に乗り損ねてしまって、置き去りに。自分でよければ、お話聞きますよ。
行くところがあるので、これで。
聞いて欲しそうな顔をしていますが。
I didn't think I was making any kind of expression, though.
お腹が減ったという顔もしています。
No, I was pretty sure my face was blank. He was right, though, so I had no reason to turn him down.
お待たせしました。
I'm not gonna deny a free meal.
ここ、自分のバイト先で。
The owner was sleeping on a couch in the back. Even though I was the only customer at the moment, it was still pretty impressive that he was allowed to run the cafe on his own. He grinded the coffee beans as the siphon beside him heated up. He then added boiling water to the grounds and stirred. I could tell from the way he moved that he knew exactly what he was doing.
いろんな仕事をしてるんですね。
Both the owner here and Juro Sayashi put their total faith in him. There were plenty of people who appeared to do flawless work, but most of them were just good at making it look that way. Ibarino was different somehow.
あれこれ手を伸ばすのが好きなんです。社会勉強の一環というか。
Pretty admirable.
それに、困ってる人も放っておけなくて。
I don't know about that, though. I guess he meant me.
追いかけなくて平気でしたか？
じゃないと思います。
引き止めてしまってすみません。
いえ、追いついた試しがないので。足が速くて。
Ibarino chuckled under his breath. This might have been the first time I had ever talked about me and Kuzka like this. I let go of my apprehension and smiled back at him a little. I released the rest of my nerves with a sigh.
彼の妹が行方不明なんです。
Despite his kindness, I wasn't planning on talking to him about this. But it felt like I would collapse if I didn't reach out to someone.
ニュースで報じられている少女のことですね。
Might come back to bite you though, Sho. I don't think Hibarino is a trustworthy person.
先ほどさくらちゃんがどうのって怒鳴っている声が聞こえました。
He'd even seen all that.
見つけてあげたいけど、どうしたらいいか。
鳥や猫に帰巣本能があるのはご存知ですか？
I mean, I know about birds, but I didn't know cats have that.
ほとんど同じ DNA を有した人間にもその本能があるはずです。きっと大事な人のもとに帰ってくる。肉親ならばなおさら。
He muttered, seeming to know from experience. Ibarino must have been waiting for someone too. He smiled as soon as I relaxed.
信じて待てばいいのですよ。
Alright, guess I'll go back to, her grandma's house. He took apart the siphon and returned with the coffee. He silently poured some into a cup. It had a deep and gentle color and smell. Ibarino slid the cup toward me. I hadn't thought to just wait for Sakura. She had come back to our home before. She had nowhere else to go. She should find her way back to us again. I wanted to stay calm this time and compliment her drawings. I wanted to give her something warm to eat. I wanted to welcome her with open arms. I bought a ton of orange flowers on my way home. I didn't know much about little girls, but after giving it some thought, I figured this would make her happy. She'd be surprised when she came back and saw them, and then hopefully she'd smile, even just a little. However, no one came knocking on the door that night. I left the door unlocked. I even left the eastern window open. Ah, she's dead, isn't she? The only thing that came in was the cold wind. I wrapped myself in a blanket and looked out into the night sky. It was the first time I'd ever missed an episode of Icarus. I hope Kozuka and Sakura weren't cold at least. I woke up with a sneeze the next morning. The smell of flowers was all around me. I may have gone a little overboard. The flowers had already begun to wilt. What could I do? I rummaged through the bookcase and pulled out an old gardening book I bought at Boroichi a while ago. That must be a reference to something in Japan, but I'm not very familiar with the stores there. Taking care of flowers was a lot of work. What else could make a little girl smile? Full of determination, I went to a toy store, but I stood in front of the display window and nervously opened my wallet. I peeked inside just as nervously and saw I only have enough money to eat for today.
Kagome-san, おはようございます。
I quickly closed the clasp on my wallet. I bowed to him, and he gave me a brief bow back.
どうされたんですか?
It seemed urgent.
さくらちゃんの行方を知る人が見つかりました。
He led me to a custom workshop on a side street near the shopping district. Ibarino looked triumphant.
自分の師匠が火の怪獣について知っていると。
He's clearly leading us around here. There must be something in it for him.
きっと巷の怪獣に間違いありません。
The workshop was quiet and empty. There were all kinds of fabrics hung up there. The scent of rubber, like what I had smelled in the Goldland costume, was all around the room.
しげさん、おはようございます。
Someone spun around in a swivel chair. He had a unique look to him, and was likely an artist. Definitely unique look for sure, considering everyone else looks so good, and this guy just looks cartoonish. Just like all those other CGs we saw before. Huh? Is this supposed to be like the artist? The actual artist? I had a feeling he was mistaken.
師匠、火の怪獣は今どこに？
人体にちょっとダメな塗料を使ってしまってな。炎にくべた。
なんたる。
The fuck? I'm so confused right now, guys.
ひばりのさん、多分違う。
あれは十郎くんの父、新一くんも。
He was mistaken, but continued to talk for almost an hour. Ibarino got up with a serious look on his face and excused himself. He didn't come back for a while. He eventually returned with hot tea and gave Shige some water, since he'd been talking for so long and all.
そして新一くんの溝落ちにドラドンの尻尾が。
When Shige began to cough, Ibarino came over and rubbed his back. Did the author or like the artist just, inserted himself into the story?
かごめさん。
Fuck off! Don't do this!
これ、さくらちゃんのことじゃありませんね。うん。また騙されました。
騙してるつもりはないかと。
でな、わしゃ知っとる。火の怪獣はわしが作った。
しげさん、3週目です。
3週目といえばな、十郎くんがまだ小さい頃。
He was once again sucked into the vortex of his memories. That was when I heard the front door opening. Someone was coming toward us as they brushed against the rubber kaiju skins. He didn't knock, and his footsteps sounded somewhat hurried. He was probably a worker.
僕はそろそろ帰ります。
I wasn't part of this world. I shouldn't have been there. I gave back the teacup and bowed. The person I was about to pass as I turned around was... Kuro. He had jet black eyes. There was no other actor whose eyes could stand out as clearly as his in Technicolor film. Looking into his eyes made fear well up inside me.
Juro-kun!
Shige got up from his rolling chair and clenched his fists like a child. It was the transformation pose of the first generation Icarus.
スーツが完成しているぞ。
なぜ君がここにいる？
カゴメ君、話は後だ。ちょっと待っているんだぞ。
Tsuyashi had asked why I was here, but even I wasn't sure how to explain. Taking too long to answer, he immediately looked away from me. Gave Hibarino his coat. Shige, who had come back in no time, had a black suit in his arms. I wasn't sure what it was at first, but when he grabbed a mannequin bust, I realized what it was.
それって。
新しいイカロスのスーツです。
来年放送予定の？
よくご存知で。第3期は黒いイカロスが主役です。
ヨミ、着替えを手伝ってくれ。
はい。
Barino Yomi, huh? I couldn't breathe. I tried to lean against the wall, but there was nothing but fabric behind me, and I ended up falling over.
それではカゴメさん、俳優志望だったんですね。
はい。
素晴らしい入り込みでしたので、てっきり怪獣志望かと。重郎もそう思いますよね。
I could see Juro Tsuyashi silhouette against the curtain he was changing behind. I had idolized him a lot longer than I had feared him, so my heart was racing a little. I swear this wasn't love, it was pure admiration.
どうです重郎？
節の可動が悪い。
サテンやナイロンではこの光沢は出んぞ。
改善願います。
わしの寿命が先だな。
Shige said. It didn't sound like he was joking either. Ibarino studied the air holes and eye placement on the mask. It looked like I was watching a shadow puppet show or from a foreign land. The third season's story was already starting. I stopped biting my lip and faced forward this time.
鞘師さん、この前のオーディション、合格者はいたんですか？
Who cares about the actor thing? I'm so confused about this story so far, guys. Like this whole acting thing and this whole like story about the drama thing, it's just making me confused. What is its relevance to the you know, overall story? That probably wasn't something an outsider like me should be asking. Right as I was about to give up hope, Shadow turned to me.
君だけだ。
I was overwhelmed with happiness. No, more like denial. I wasn't given the role of a hero, but rather I was a stand-in for the kaiju role.
またオーディションを受けに行っていいですか？ヒーローになることが僕の。
結果は変わらない。
In other words, I'd never beat a hero.
元気いっぱい。今日から君たちはイカロスだ。
Everyone didn't include me. I was struck by the reality of adulthood, and it was my inner child that was wounded. Nevertheless,
イカロスに助けられたことがあるんです。直接じゃなくてテレビ越しですが、一番辛い時に勇気をもらったんです。
just something like, you know, people spew when they say idols save their lives. I do not understand that.
だからオーディションがある限り通わせてください。諦めきれないんです。
The speakers began to blare. It was Sochigaya's hero siren. Jigen Sayashi didn't seem the least bit concerned. Ibarino came out and shut the window, muffling the sound of the siren.
今日はお邪魔してすみませんでした。僕はこれで。
鳴り止むまでいてください。
いえ。
The sirens might have been for Sakura.
君はイカロスになれない。君は怪獣だ。
Everyone said the same thing. I had drank kaiju blood, been drenched in it. There was no way I hadn't been infected. Even I could barely trust myself. The only person I could trust with all my heart was Kozuka.
ヒーローになります。どんな姿でも。 僕なりのヒーローに。
Ah, that's fine. In my enthusiasm, I ended up snapping at him. Flustered, I ran outside to get away. I got on my bike and pedaled toward the sound of the sirens. It was coming from the opposite end of the shopping district, Narayama Bridge, same as that night. Please, don't let it be Sakura, and if it is her, let her be alright. The siren sputtered to a stop. As soon as I looked toward the sky,
What?
I lost my balance going down a turn. Orange flowers were flying and got caught perfectly in my spinning wheels. When I got up to ask if he was alright,
ごめん。
俺こそっていうか、なんでここに？
怪獣が現れたみたいだから。
今のサイレンなら誤報だぜ。イカロスがひでえ顔して帰っていった。
そっか。ならよかった。
he picked up my bike. He was looking like he was in a much better mood today compared to yesterday.
家に帰ってびっくりしたぜ。花だらけでよ。
さくらちゃんが帰ってきたら喜ぶと思って。
だから俺も買ってきた。花言葉とかあんだろ？難しいことはわかんねえけどよ。元気そうなやつ選んだぜ。
He handed them to me and gallantly smacked the back of my bike. Once I sat down saddle, he began to pedal shakily. Yashi's words stuck behind my eyelids. I leaned against the large back in front of me and held back my sigh.
実はもう一つオーディションに応募してたんだ。
秘密が多いね。
なんだか恥ずかしくて。
そんで結果は？
明日の午後3時、新宿で実技審査。
すげえじゃん。
書類と実技がセットなんだ。誰でも受けられるよ。
卑屈出てるぜ。
卑屈っていうか、事実。
What I really wanted to say was,
応援して。
もちろん。
強いヒーローになるから。さくらちゃんに憧れてもらえるような強いヒーローになる。
if she's not dead yet. But I guess even if she is dead, doesn't mean that we don't know what she wants, right? Even without the flowers and the toys, if I could be her favorite superhero, I was sure I could make every day fun for her. I wasn't someone special to Sakura like Kozuka. I tried my best to be that special someone for her. I didn't care where that first step took me. I'd make that step as many times as it took until I could go no more. I decided I'd never whine about my life again. I heard about Tei from the evening paper the other day. Before Hayata had mentioned it to me, I'd already signed up for their new hero search. But after the audition at Hiko, I'd shut myself back up in my shell. Thinking it'd just go terrible anyway, I decided not to go. After all the hits from Tsuyashi though, my shell had finally broken. I'd do it. I'd go for it like Kozuka told me to. Auditions were being held on the first floor of the Tei office building. When I got there, people were lining up in a cramped hallway. I arrived right on time, but maybe I should have got here earlier to show them how serious I was. Ogra? Magra? What is that? You something? Ionemo? Yumeno? Meno? Tokusatsu? I feel like I've heard that before. Probably a very popular like novel in Japan. Like I've heard the author at least, yeah. I sat on the end of the long bench and looked over the assigned script. I think Dogra Magra is a popular like novel though. But I think I know like the English name instead of that. Maybe it has. I don't know. I feel like it's very familiar. I could feel someone staring at me, so I looked to my side and saw two round eyes blinking at me.
どうも。
君いくつ？ちっちゃいね。
24です。
Okay, I'm 24.
あれれ、いい年だった。
I heard that all the time.
どうして受けようと思ったんですか？ どうしてです？
What a nosy person.
話せば長くなります。
聞きたい聞きたい。
演技の試験があるので集中させてください。
焦らなくても平気だよ。周り見てみ、バカばっかでしょ。ほらあっち、柔道家が3人並んでる。スライムだったら合体してるよ。
An employee in a suit called out some names, and all three of them form a line and headed toward the door.
あっちゃー、無個性の塊になっちゃったね。
どんとその後はご無沙汰ばっかり。謎と言うたらびっくりなさる。
あ、台本に入り込んじゃってる。
忘れたなら貸しますよ。
いいのだよ。私のセリフは私が考えるから。この順番で言ったら、私と君は一緒の組だね。
Why are you shoving your boobs on my arm?
ですね。
私の名前は宮本ウラン。ウランちゃんって呼んで。
Some personal space, bitch. Miyamoto, then. I shook the hand she held out toward me. She had soft hands. Her eyes were constantly on the move, like she was chasing butterflies. She got ADHD. Those very eyes were now staring at the office bulletin board. Like Miyamoto said, she and I were called in together. There was no one else behind me, so we'd be auditioning as a pair. My hands wouldn't stop sweating. I was nervous. In front of us was a famous young actor. He was Teie's CEO. He was dressed like Juro Sayashi, but he had a completely different aura. I could tell he had the patience to sit through countless auditions, though. He was probably the kind of person that went out of his way to appear harmless, but was in fact only hiding his true abilities.
それじゃあ君から。
Miyamoto jumped out of her chair with her right hand in the air, like a gymnast. Her silky hair bounced about, and I could imagine stars swirling around the room.
全員合格って噂、本当ですか？月額だけ巻き上げて若い俳優を飼い殺していると聞いたのですが。
Huh? Was her script different from mine? Everyone's eyes were on her while I nervously fiddled with the small book in my lap.
そのお金を脚本家に渡して自分だけ映画に出ているとも聞いたのですが。
All the judge's face went dark. Only the young CEO continued to watch her, the look in his eyes never changing.
しかも若い子を煮て焼いて食っているそうで。
君、名前は？
申し遅れました。私、女性ナインの宮本ウランです。
Ladies 9? Where's that from?
明日発売の本誌にて悪徳事務所の不貞騒動が掲載されるのでご挨拶にだけ。
I see.
よろしくお願いします。
次。
so dumb. That was a long staring contest. Oh, what the fuck is this? What happened to the serious atmosphere with Sakura? What is going on, bro? This whole like acting thing is so dumb to me. Orange light glowed around the dense clouds. It was 5 in the afternoon. A balmy breeze was blowing in from the west. It was probably going to rain soon. A heavy air was engulfing the city of Shinjuku. Miyamoto ran ahead of me and grabbed me by the shoulders. In contrast to the face full of confidence from just a little while ago, he was now frowning apologetically.
君がカゴメ翔太郎くんなんだね。
お疲れ様です。
He's using those corset things. Wow. Can't believe people still use those. Those are trash.
お疲れ。さっきはごめんね。一生懸命台本を覚えたのにさ。
Oh wait, this is 1970, so yeah, makes sense. But dear lord, never use those. Those are awful. I shook my head.
騙されるところでした。ありがとうございます。
俳優って肩書きが欲しいだけで騙されたままでいいって人結構いるんだ。君は本当の役者になりたいんだね。
Who wouldn't?
困らせちゃったお詫びにご飯でもおごらせて。
いえ。
I wasn't sure how I'd explain having dinner alone with a girl to Kozuka. I was sure he'd cry. He'd He'd definitely sulk. I started to walk toward the station, but she immediately blocked my path.
これからフォトプロダクションの社長と会うの。元子役だって言うから芸能界のつてもらえるかもよ。
いえ、
所詮つてとコネだよ。つてつてコネコネ。
Bros, this is probably gonna be your kind of chick, isn't she?
つてつてコネコネ。
She was moving her hands in beat with her words. I hadn't accomplished anything today, so maybe this was better than going home empty-handed. Plus, it wouldn't look as sordid if there were 3 of us, right? When I tried asking Kosuke in my mind, he reluctantly, begrudgingly, agreed. She led me to a restaurant with a view of the night skyline. Unfortunately, because of the clouds, the glass was foggy, but the blurry lights of the street lamps were still beautiful. Apparently, you had to be a member to dine here. Was it really okay for me to be here out in the open?
ここへはよく来るんですか？
大事な人とかと。
She waved to that person behind me. Familiar footsteps suddenly came up from behind.
社長、遅いじゃないですか。
Gonna be Chotsugai?
渋滞に巻き
Fucking hell. Fucking hell.
マキコ？
Chotsugai? The one person in the world that I didn't want to see right now. He was making the same face I was.
あ、知り合い。こりゃ偶然。
貴様どういうことだ？
どうもこうも現場で知り合っただけです。
お疲れ様でした。
わあ、待って、もっとお話聞かせてよ。一人じゃ食べきれないんですけど。
Where's the food? Give me a CG of the food. She had ordered a ton of food as soon as we had sat down. They must have been bringing it out now. I could smell and hear something delicious. I returned to my seat without saying a word, and Chotsugai did the same. The only one smiling was Miyamoto.
翔太郎くんね、イカロスに憧れて俳優目指してるんですって。社長、鞘師十郎の初主演作に出てるんだよ。
余計なことを。
なんと、社長の初恋の人も出てるの。
I really couldn't have cared less.
それがね、男の子と女の子を勘違いしてずっと片思いしてたの。今期逃した童貞なんだよ。
人の事情を笑うのは良くないと思います。
おお、君もつぼみなのね。
What a lively wake.
それで社長、見せたい写真って？
Chotsugai pulled out some negatives and 3 photos from his breast pocket. He handed them to Miyamoto in a way where I wouldn't have been able to see them. I didn't want to see them either, of course, but the way her face suddenly twisted made me curious. She passed them to me with a straight face.
おい、勝手に見せるな。
だって翔太郎くんイカロスのファンだって。
余計見せるな。
Oh, this must be something to do with the fact that, gonna ruin our image of Icarus. I mean, Chotsuga has orange eyes, so I'm gonna say that he's probably also a kaiju. The photos filled me with disgust. I feel like this is one of those things that they do to make that the viewers or the readers of the game are easily able to distinguish the kaijus, but the characters in the game themselves aren't able to. The photos filled me with disgust. It showed Tsuyashi during a likely secret rendezvous. I couldn't exactly call these photos intimate, more like graphic.
枕営業ね。だけどこの写真だけじゃ友達って言い切れるからな。
この変態が変死体で見つかった。
いいえじゃん。
同時刻、鞘師は生放送に出演していた。彼のアリバイは僕も認める。
生き量じゃん。
怪獣には特殊能力があるだろう。鞘師の背後に何らかの力を持った怪獣がついていることは間違いない。
See. Leaving us dumbfounded, Chotsugai gulped down his wine.
あとは君が調べてくれ。報酬はいらない。必ず掲載するのが条件だ。いいかい？
After she nodded, he took out enough money to cover his drinks from his wallet. He moved quickly. He was probably on his way to capture more gossip. How many lives had he ruined with his photos? Do you ever think about that?
あなたに口出しする権利があるんですか？
I don't know about that, Shotaro.
すみません。
Showing people the truth, though. Not as if he's actually spreading misinformation with these photos, right?
文句があるなら僕がいるうちに言いたまえ。行き過ぎたやじ馬根性とでも言いたいのかな。
そうです。誰かがサエスさんに罪をなすりつけようとしているのかもしれないのに。
僕に正論は通じない。なんせ精子が憎くてやっているんだからね。
Okay, I can also appreciate someone who's true to his own feelings.
それじゃあさよなら。
Because as you saw or as you hear from what I said, I was actually defending him a bit, right? He left. His footsteps sounded lighter than when he first came in. Totsuke was a terrible person. There was no way I could trust him, but the gratefulness I felt toward him when he tried to cover for us at the police station had yet to fade inside of me. Once he was gone, Miyamoto let out a long sigh.
仲良さそうでしたね。
もう6年の付き合いだよ。
She stuffed the money for the drinks and the photos into her purse. Was it always like this around Chotsukai? She was still smiling, even after their argument.
私が新米記者で社長も事務所設立したばっかの頃で、あの性格絶対治らない。だけどね、優しいところもごめんないわ。
I guess he helped us out that day on a whim.
しかし鞘師くんか、嫌ってるのは知ってたけど、いざ持ってこられても扱いづらいな。
It sounded like she didn't want to write the article. Fans would be upset if Icarus's name was dragged through the mud. Without the truth completely verified, it would be difficult to excuse any outright lies.
こういう時は飲んで忘れちゃおう。
僕はもう。
She poured one into my empty glass of water.
一本飲むまで帰らせないよ。
I could see how she could hold her own with Chotsuge for 6 years. Okay, after this night, I'm probably gonna call it an episode.
ごめん、翔太郎くん、本当にごめん。
Are you kidnapping me, woman?
どうしよう。雨足強くなってきちゃったよ。
お構いなく。
ちょっと待っててね。今から君んち電話してくるから。
Had I told her my phone number? She was a journalist, so she probably knew everything. No, you dumb fuck!
説明しよう。翔太郎はアルコールの分解酵素が不活発で排出に長時間を要するのだ。本人はその間の記憶がないからたちが悪い。翔太郎の運命はウランさんの善意にかかっている。
Thank you, narrator.
翔太郎くん、アキラくんって人が迎えに来てくれるって。寝ちゃった。不謹慎だけどめっちゃ可愛いよ君。
ごめん。
私こ
そ。ごめん。ごめんなさい。
What are we sorry to? He's probably crying about a past or something here.
あなたが宮本さんですか？ここまでありがとう。
This doesn't sound like Kozuka.
めっちゃタイプ。いえいえ、なんでもないです。
それじゃあ。
はーい。あれ？私、お迎え場所伝えたかな？
Yeah, this doesn't sound like Kozuka.
小塚くん。顔。
小塚くんじゃないよ。
Kobayashi. I was trying to figure out who it is based on the voice, but I wasn't able to.
顔。顔。
ガオガオ。
顔。顔。
説明しよう。翔太郎は酔うと特殊な方向を放つのだ。この方向は小塚くんはもちろんのこと、アキラくんにも有効だ。
So stupid. Go and fuck him, okay, Kobayashi?
着いたよ。
ガオガオ。
シートベルト外せるかい？困った人だな。
小塚くん。
How do you know where he is though? Or where he was? I guess Chotsugai tipped us off? Tipped him off?
なあ、翔ちゃん。どうして彼をアキラくんと呼んであげないんだ？その場所はまだ俺にあるって考えてもいいのか？
起きてくれ翔太郎。このままではアキラくんの理性が崩壊する。
Yes, please, narrator. I don't want to see a sex scene between these two.
いいも悪いも君次第。目覚めるんだ、翔太郎。
あのけだものめ。
He's seeing the bite marks. I wonder how the audition went. I put the script in my pocket, but where did it go? I remember having drinks with Miyamoto. And then... Oh yeah. Kosuke came to pick me up. Wait, you don't have a car? He got rid of his motorcycle a long time ago. He had no mode of transportation other than my bicycle. Hmm? Huh? What? This is gonna be so awkward. Oh no. Huh? Huh? Huh?
おはよ
And I'm gonna call it an episode right here, sirs. So stupid. I know I'm calling this an episode right here, but you know, like I will be recording more after I take a short break, so it's not really like the end for me. I'm probably just gonna go do some grocery shopping real quick, and then do some chores while this episode render for people on Patreon. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Give this video a like if you guys like it. What's up if you guys haven't? Patreon will be getting these episodes early access along with everything uncensored. YouTube members, you'll be getting these early access too, but nothing uncensored. But yeah, the 8 scenes in this game are like nothing really. It's not even all that explicit compared to like other yaoi scenes that I've read in doujins even. So it's actually not that bad. Like I don't even know why they're there. It works very well even without those scenes in this game. So it's really just to attract Fujoshis, I guess. But yeah, for people on YouTube that aren't on Patreon just yet, feel free to become a free member because that's gonna be where I put first episode previews of future playthroughs. Alright guys, hope you guys enjoy it. I will be doing some chores and going to buy some groceries. I'll be back. See ya!